Team tennis adopts a kids' tennis format, which includes appropriate equipment based on age and skill level with corresponding court sizes. Team tennis is structured in 4 divisions, which are red ball half court, orange ball 3/4 court, green ball full court, and regular ball full court. The red ball half court division uses the red ball and is recommended for 6 to 8 years old. Red ball half court division can be set up on a regular tennis court or easily implemented in a gym. Playing widthwise across the court is the recommended setup for red ball team tennis. The widthwise setup uses the width of a regular tennis court to create the red ball half courts. After the coaches place the nets, sidelines are added to define each court area. There are a number of natural lines that can be used to create the courts. Up to 6 courts can be created on each court, allowing for more space for players. 6 red courts can allow for a 24 players team tennis program. Here you can see the finished court setup. There is room for 2 additional courts on either end. Here you can see the coaches bringing the nets out to set up the court lengthwise for the red ball half court division. This way of setting up the courts is recommended when there is no net divider. This minimizes balls rolling onto adjacent courts. After the coaches place the nets, a baseline is added for the side of the courts closest to the main net. A sideline is added between the courts. Here you can see the finished court setup with 18-foot portable nets. The orange ball 3/4 court division uses the orange ball, and the court can be set up in one of 2 ways. Here you can see the coaches setting up the modified orange competition setup. This will create 2 3/4 court courts. The baseline is placed 9 feet from the outside of the regular baseline to the outside of the new baseline. Tape is placed down to extend the service tee and finish the sideline between the 2 courts. The modified orange court allows for 8 total players on a regular court. This setup allows players that are moving from red ball to orange ball, or beginners that are starting at this stage, to have more success by having less space to cover. Here you can see the finished court setup. Here you can see the coaches setting up the regulation orange competition setup. The baseline is placed 9 feet from the outside of the regular baseline to the outside of the new baseline. The sidelines are placed 3 feet from the outside of the regular sideline to the outside of the new sideline. If the majority of participants played on a modified orange court during the season, then the natural progression is to have them play on the regulation orange court the following season. This gives them the opportunity to cover more space, to serve cross court, and to play with more angles. This court setup can accommodate 4 players. The lines are taped down to minimize movement during play. Here is the final regulation orange court setup. Two green courts can be created on one regulation court by dividing the court into two halves. This allows option is to simply use the full regulation court. The second option is to simply use the regulation court. This allows for 4 players per court. The 10 to 12-year-old age group uses the green ball, which is slightly lower compression than a regular tennis ball.